be Alarm and Fielder, respectively. Biotic Grenade is so nasty when Winston especially is able to punish it by adding damage on top to multiple people. So, I mean, there it is.
As you say that, yeah, as you were talking about that, 3-player Biotic Grenade comes in from Alarm right off the rip.
Alarm, I mean, MVP candidate, by the way. Absolutely nutty when it comes to his Ana. It is just filthy. Sato's forced to concede the high ground briefly here. Okay, he spots Winston. Note the hack that actually went on to no spine as he tried to dive there. So once he gets to his target, I don't know if he can even put a shield down. He had to back out there awfully quick, but Sato gets blown up.
Yeah, he gets hacked as he's on the point, and he kind of gets stuck in a little bit of like no man's land in between his team and the Paris Eternal. They're able to get a hack on him, and it looks like you're not even able to get a touch here if you're the Philly Fusion. They just send Ivy in there. He gets taken out rather quickly. So lightning fast first point take there for the Paris Eternal.
Yeah, Ivy tries to ask a question there of Paris, maybe tries to make something happen, but he's dealing with a Winston as well. You just don't really, it's just guaranteed damage by being close to Winston. So really difficult for Genji to actually apply pressure when he has to go through the Tesla cannon. Hanbin gets the high ground. I wonder how long he opts to stay here. Maybe long enough to charge up and then drop back down to his front line. Yeah, it seems maybe the case with Winston in his face. That's annoying.
He may as well, yeah. Zarya, you remember Sinatra last year, right? Zarya on the high ground, dude, obviously goats, but he'll make great use of it. He'll be rallied from FD God as he saw the EMP coming down.
Both Hisu and X are down though, FD God.
This is such a big grab though.
Rally grab was also there. Hanbin. I mean, yeah, we have Hanbin versus Fury, by the way. What is this? This is such a sick matchup for off-tank players as well. We're going to have 2 of them today.
This is so fast for Paris, though. This is really worrisome for Philly. Like, if like the way that Philly's played throughout the entire Countdown Cup, they've been able to switch between all these compositions and really make teams pay for it. And Paris comes in here and is just doing it better, at least right now.
And the fact that they have an EMP now for this next fight, by the way, a little bit hard to avoid getting EMP'd if you're playing on the corner of this little L-shaped road.
Nanoblade for the Fusion here. So this should be a fight win.
Depends when the EMP happens. Okay, actually, I think he tried to EMP there, and then he got put to sleep instantly. That's bizarre. Sparkle also got hacked during his blade, so he's a fantastic job there, and now Ivy gets to turn around with the nanoblade of his own. Finds 2 already, make it 1 more, and that'll be it. What happened to Paris just now?
Oh, that was a bad fight for the Eternal. I mean, that may allow Philly to come back into this. As you see the bubbles on a Hisu, that allows him to just stay in a little bit longer, farm that EMP up. Yet again.
Yeah, I can't tell if XE tried to EMP inside a Winston bubble or something like that. He got no one at all with that EMP. And then slept?
They did have Sato hacked for a bit, but Sato was in Primal Rage. They weren't able to do much of anything to him.
Before we move on, it's possible that XE was actually slept during the animation.
Yeah.
It is Alarm that we're talking about there. We'll get confirmation for you on that one later on, but very small interaction, but that could have just taken all the wind out of Paris' sails here. Isu has an EMP, and what? This one doesn't miss. No Smite is doused in Biotic Grenade instantly. And the Winston goes bye-bye. And the Fusion want to chase a little bit there. Sato, though, good discipline. Doesn't go for too much as Paris tried to go aggressive.
They have to be so careful around Hanbin. He's been so highly charged throughout this game that every time Sato goes in, you can understand why Sato wants to, because wants to just build up more towards that primal, push players back. This will be a grab early from Fury. That'll be a nano boost used by Fielder and FD God with a rally.
Oh boy! Another one from Alarm! And Sparkle's caught napping on the job once more. Dragon Blade goes by the wayside, but Philly is still hit by 4 players with an EMP. Harbin's charged up, average energy almost 60 at this point, and he wants to keep pushing. But a Primal Rage Winston is a difficult target for him to bypass, and right now, we're trying to get the most out of his shielding and likely have to back away. Seriously,
what a sleep,
MVP.
dude.
Team MVP.
What a sleep from Alarm is. Sparkle was he was ready to go. I mean, that's a game-winning blade right there, right? So Alarm saves the day for the Philly Fusion.
Oh, Bio, but it's going to be 4-player EMP. Hisu, pretty consistent on this Sombra so far. It's looked excellent, and that was nice by No Smite. Able to get away just as Sato used the jump to try and close the gap. No Smite may not have healing. It doesn't have a lot here. Sato may have bitten off more than he could chew. Fortunately, Funny Astro's keeping tabs on him.
Yeah, and a biotic grenade connects on Fielder and No Smite, and Fielder was basically 1 HP, so if that biotic grenade doesn't come through, they probably commit there and go in on it. But Nano Blade available for the Philly Fusion, also a Graviton Search, and now Philly's starting to regain some control here. I mean, Alarm so clutch, man. Those sleeps have been so crucial for Philly. He doesn't connect on 2 of those in the last 2 fights. We're looking at like Paris having like 4 minutes.
XC EMP now. No Smite getting blown up though. Sato is okay. I mean, he gets the nano boost to keep him alive, and all that attention Paris tried to pay Sato kind of gets wasted now that he gets healed up in a pinch. He doesn't need to have cooldowns. He has his team pocketing him.
No, you don't get the opportunity for a Nano Blade, but you will have Rally plus Blade, potentially, for the next fight. Xe will switch off Sombra, and he'll go over to McCree here, so...
Admin. 3 HP in a dream.
They allow Hisu to farm so much EMP charge by just using the Zarya bubbles on him as well. Like, just the extra few seconds being able to stay in there on Sombra is everything.
Defensive dive there from Sato. He backs away, and Rally's even used by Funny Astro. The Eternals still want to force the issue, though. They're walking into a pretty durable Philly side, and Sparkle got hacked in midair. He has no dash available. Even if he gets a kill with the blade, he can't dash once more. That's crazy. He got completely shut down there. Ivy's able to find Sparkle, but the card is moving closer. Fury can't get there. The Primarate keeps him off. Hisu touches, though, and Sato returns. Philadelphia, I mean, they look to be one of the best teams when it comes to playing this dive style. Everything is perfect. Hisu single-handedly shutting down multiple players on the Paris Eternal, and they're switching. Sparkle's like, no, I'm not playing Genji anymore. That's ridiculous.
No, and this is what you expected from Philly when they played this type of composition. They've looked tremendous on it throughout the Countdown Cup. Now they force the Paris Eternal to switch off of this. And this is where having No Smite in the game, right? You want him in there to play the Winston. If your Winston comps aren't going, yeah, he can play the Orisa, but it's not your first option.
Just great. Hacking a Genji as he comes at you with a Dragon Blade just completely ruins him. He has no snowball potential. The resets don't matter.
Sparkle wants to go nowhere near Alarm right now. You see how far they need like multiple players to go near Alarm to feel comfortable.
Alarm, Nano Boost dispensed. Fury this time gets it 70 charge, and he goes for a long shot there. The Graviton connects, charged up though. Nice bubble given out there. And all of Paris again have to back away. That's another sleep on Ivy. Nicely done by Fielder to connect that one. And there'll be a Nano Boost here for Fielder in this next fight. I suppose No Smite gets it, but FT God already gets burned down, and Fielder's hacked. He couldn't give his ultimate away. No Nano available for Paris, and no time left.
Philly with their backs against the wall comes up clutch there. I mean, sometimes that's all you need though, is like your team is your team's getting rolled. It doesn't look good. You need somebody to make a play, like somebody to get the vibes, the mental going in the right direction, right?
I mean,
Alarm with those sleeps is the type of play that gets everybody in the comms hyped, gets everybody feeling positive, going in the right direction.
Here's Xe trying to go for an EMP, by the way. Okay, if you don't vote for Alarm MVP, you are dead to me! If you don't vote MVP, this guy, what? Look, he got a Zarya bubble. It was right a split before the second bubble. Too late. Oh, what is going
and that's
on,
dude? That's not even the sleeps on the Sparkle Blades coming through.
I mean, Xe, it wasn't just Sparkle that had an awful time dealing with. No. I mean, between. You have so much disruption between Alarm, Astro, and Hisu. I mean, Paris don't get to use their abilities. They actually don't really get to play Overwatch. They're playing Sausage Simulator. They're just walking around like pork chops.
And like I mentioned, maybe Xe in the pregame, like maybe we see him play a McCree because it's a little bit safer against this dive. That's exactly what he goes to on D. And look, if the Philly Fusion are going to see this, and they should dive the McCree. Like, McCree obviously has no mobility. It's a fairly easy dive target, especially when you have a situation where you're playing dive with like a Zarya in the mix and you can bubble people as they're going into the McCree.
I mean, yeah, if the Winston is bubble as well, the McCree's flash just feels so awful trying to... Look at this discipline from Sato. My God. Dives in, backs up a little bit there, tries not to give Hanbin too much charge. Fielder hit with the Bionic Grenade briefly.
We've seen Sato play the Winston into, you know, really strong anti-dive compositions in the past. Remember the Philly Fusion used to play this type of style with a Winston on defense on Rialto.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite maps to see him on, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they did on Volskaya a bunch as well. You know what I like? That Sato's just actually playing safe because he's charging up Fury. He's just popping up, diving, and then backing off to make sure that his Zarya is doing tons of damage. Philadelphia Fusion, they just get the one pick on Sparkle earlier on, right, Matt? And they're just able to move up.
Yeah, and I think if Philly is to win this, I would love to know what the guys on the Watchpoint desk think, because I think this puts Paris in such a weird position for the rest of the series in terms of substitutions, because you've seen yourself play this like Reinhardt Orisa, and it's worked against the Fusions, Reinhardt Orisa. Now with a Nano Blade coming through, Ivy will just be able to cut through players. The Paris Eternal. What do you do in terms of like your main tank rotation and subs for the rest of the series if you're the Paris Eternal? I'd be really interested to hear what the guys on the desk think, because I think it could be a really tough decision and potentially an issue for Paris moving forward if Philly's able to win this map.
And you expect, right, that Philadelphia, over the next couple of maps, before I have a moment, which is Assault and Escort, are going to keep trying to play this Sombra Genji style?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, when you think of like hybrid maps and even Assault, you can make the Winston compositions work much more than like a Control, where there's just like a standard point where usually like a more stable composition can win out.
There's the EMP, big one at that.
Exy put the Sully behind while he's dead-eyeing.
Trying to dead-eye, no chance. Alarm gets him yet again. Looks like his EMP actually didn't connect onto nearly as many people as I thought, or any, but it doesn't matter. Paris Eternal, they break line aside for a time, but they just used Primal, they just used Graviton Surge, Rally, and it just didn't matter, man.
You can tell they're just struggling for answers. Sparkle on Genji, then on Tracer, now on Sombra, Exy on McCree, was on Sombra, like, you know, everything they're throwing at Philly's just able to deal with. Now Philly will have the advantage here of they can come in, maybe Primal Rage. They can use the Primal to build up Nano Blade here towards the end.
I'll have to build it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, and Nano Blade time already. I've been waiting on the pull. Okay, Shield Bash. Look at him. Oh, that's so smart. He waits for the bash. He knows he'll get a dash reset if he can slash the brick, who's already going to be in his face after Shield Bashing him. Maybe I'm overthinking it. That is pretty sick from Ivy, though, if that was what he was trying to do. Great approach. He gave himself a split second just to assess the situation as he rounded the corner. Philly have 4 minutes and 35 seconds. To call this a drubbing would be an utter understatement. Now it's going to be no smite on the Wrecking Ball to try and do something, but my God, Paris get absolutely blown out of the water.
Well, you see this for Philly, and obviously every map is different in terms of like geometry and whatnot, but like it's just so odd to see a team in map number 1 just look so out of it and then come back in map. Potentially Fury, right? No mobility on Zarya. Yeah. How do they keep Fury up? Because they're probably going to try and run him down with like a Mei wall and get Ben Best right in his face.
I mean, that's all their sustained damage, Fury, when he's charged up. So if Philly don't have him in the mix, I mean, if Zarya bubbles, break the bubble. All right, you might give her a bit of charge, but if all 6 players are just committed to removing their player, then you take a huge chunk of the enemy damage away. Teleport to the point here. It's going to be Symmetra for Exy now. They get there in time. Sparkle's going to be playing behind his Rhine Shield as much as he can. And now Philly are the ones that have to make their move.
And you see they don't want to fight on the point, Philly. They end up losing Sato. We have a trade 2 for 2. It's a hack on to Fielder, so no mobility on the Moira, but already 1 tick in favor of the Paris Eternal.
I mean, this is why the Eternal are even in this game in the first place, Matt, while they're in the semis. Because they figured out an answer, and they look really good playing this style. FD God was dangerously low there as Ivy went for a swift strike and almost got the kill on the Lucio. Philly have some time to trickle back in.
Philly's going to come back in here,
Getting rid of FD God is pretty big here. The speed boost is not important for the Eternal right now, but the healing helps.
And they were trying to take out Ivy with that Coalescence. They lose 2 players in the meantime, and Ivy will take out Exy and Benbest as Philly is able to turn it. So Philly able to bounce back. They get that fight win, but Paris does get 2 ticks. So if you're the Paris Eternal, there's no reason to kind of move away from... look, maybe Hanbin goes back and plays, let's say, Sigma. This time he's going to go play Diva. But there's no reason to move completely off this comp. I actually like the adjustments, even bring in the Reaper. Double down on what you're doing. Play this aggressive brawly style of composition.
And if you're Philly, you still don't want to play on the point. But now you have to even more urgently because there's only 1 tick left. And I mean, you have a Wrecking Ball instead of a Zarya, so your potential damage definitely gets flattened a bit. Hisu just, I mean, that's just a cerebral play. He waits behind, finds himself an easy pick up here. Sato jumps the Earth Shatter. A little bit annoying for Benbest to try and control the Winston right now. And Ivy adds to the chaos with a Dragon Blade. How long can Philly keep getting away with this, man?
I mean, I think you'll see the Paris Eternal. Do you stay on the Symmetra? You have the barriers, so you can TP to point maybe, but they're going to be walking into EMP Minefield. A really good combination on the point. So this, even if you use the Symmetra barrier, right? EMP will just remove it completely. So
Hisu gets such an easy rallying point here to set up with this Sombra. He can get as they move through the choke, he can get a big EMP. Nice speed boost though. He can't actually catch the Eternal right now.
That's a big pick.
They move on in. They get rid of Ivy early in the fight. Here's that EMP, but FD God is so smart. He stays out of line of sight and is still able to get the sound barrier in time after, crucially, the EMP. Really good solution here from the Paris Eternal. Elegant approach. And they'll have themselves the point here.
It's such an odd interaction that you rarely ever see, but they use the EMP to get rid of the Symmetra barrier, which allows them to get a free sound barrier. So FD God gets the sound barrier off, allows the Paris Eternal to take first point. So good offense from the Paris Eternal. They're doing exactly what the desk thought they should, and which is the right call here, is to play that brawly style of composition. So now let's see how they approach this. They have some ultimates to work with to potentially really set a good time with a point B take.
Sparkle has to use Wraith Form a little early here. Still, the Eternal are able to stay together as a unit. Remember, they have Lucio, they have Moira. This is what they want to be. They are a death ball right now, and to the point they go. That bubble has expired on Sato. He'll have to use Primal Rage to stay alive right now. Benbest is hit with a Bionic Grenade, but Sato's taking a lot of damage very early. Nano Blade from Ivy, though. Xy's down. Shatter perfect from Benbest. Silences Ivy just as he was about to keep Philly in this defense. And now things are getting dicey for the Fusion. Sparkle now going to try and go in for a Death Blossom that doesn't get value. Fury lasers him down.
And that is, it's so frustrating there because Hanbin is in the perfect position with the defense matrix there for Sparkle's Death Blossom. Obviously, Fury's Zarya Beam doesn't really care for defense matrix, so you're able to deal with Sparkle. Get a defensive hold here. Philly doesn't give up a tick. Paris is a pretty good attempt. Paris will be able to come back in and have that same type of setup here, where they'll have the Xy Symmetra wall, and then if that gets EMP'd, you'll be able to sound barrier potentially right after.
So again, this is one of those peaks in Philly's ultimate economy that makes him look a little more dangerous than normal. Doesn't help that Paris used a bunch in that previous fight and couldn't even get a tick. This EMP promises to be nasty against the team who wants to group up by definition. Hanbin cornered off for a brief period of time. A lot of free ultimate charge for Ivy. And here's that Symmetra barrier now being used. Sato gets out instantly.
I don't EMP this. I think he probably could have waited, but they actually connect with FD God, so this is a much better EMP.
I was going to say this, but you're a platinum gamer.
You could have waited it out as well, because they're just trying to bait you into it, right? Where you could have grabbed right after potentially. Still been up in like a favorable type of trade. But they EMP, they get rid of the Symmetra barrier. Now Benbest will go and play the Orisa. So this is even more of a stationary type of composition. You can play on the point. Yeah, look, play really strong anti-dive. You
Why
play
not
the
take
Orisa.
Batiste instead of Moira here, do you think?
And Moira provides just a ton of like AoE healing, good mobility to get away from like a Genji, as well as it's really easy. Let's say you're going to get hacked to just turn and get like a grasp right on the Sombra,
Right.
prevent the hack from going through.
Yeah, I wonder how it works here. I mean, maybe just wanting to build another Coalescence. Alarm, I mean, this guy, cold as ice, doesn't nano his Winston even though Sada was very low. Good biotic grenade onto the perfect target in Sparkle, who obviously can't regenerate health by doing damage while he's bioed, but that gets cleansed off by the looks of things. And Ivy finds Sparkle first. Sound Barrier is very good from MD God, but it's not enough to protect his team from Nanoblade, especially, Matt, when Paris don't have an Immortality field without Batiste currently.
Now Paris Eternal, you have one last chance here. You'll have Coalescence. Sparkle switches over to the Doomfist, but they're going to be walking a Grav Rally EMP. That is a devastating combination of ultimates. You got to get close together. They're going to have the speed boost here.
It feels like Paris
try and
are
get a
playing
touch.
3 different compositions, Matt, at once. I mean, they have like an anti-dive main tank with like a death ball support line. The Diva's also there. Sparkle's there just to try and Falcon punch his way through. And it's a big EMP. That means Ben Best can't do anything but stand there and await his demise. Paris,
Alarm with a sleep onto Xe trying to get that Deadeye off in the choke.
again, Xe can't Deadeye. I mean, he can't stand still. Otherwise, Alarm is going to put him to sleep. Paris Eternal pull up pretty short, going for point B.
I like what Paris is trying to do, though. I mean, although they're not able to take point B, they did make a lot of really good attempts where they were close to getting progress, almost able to break through, like trading kills back and forth. I think you do worry, though, that you're not able to win. Well, this is more of a test, right? You play like Death Volley on defense and play really like anti-dive, you can make a strong defensive point A stand. Like point A is not strong for dive and mobility, verticality, right? If you lose point A, I think point B is where you worry, because that's where the dive becomes effective, right? We saw Philly on defense with their dive. They weren't really, their point A defense was pretty bad. I mean, all things considered.
Yeah.
Like, they're able to keep it going for a long time.
Longer than I expected.
Right, but it wasn't like the ideal perfect defensive setup, and I think it's just hard to play dive on defense here. Paris Eternal's composition is way more standard. The Batiste with the Brig now. Good combination against a dive, like Immortality Field, keep everybody up. Brig provides a ton of AoE healing, and then the Orisa Sigma. How does the Philly Fusion play around this? Can they make it work on point A? If they can make it work on point A, it makes it very difficult for Paris Eternal to hold the high ground on point B.
Who is the priority target for Philadelphia if they want a successful dive here, Matt? Do they try and catch Harbin out on his own, or is it someone else?
I think you can deal with Xe or Sparkle. I don't think you really. I think teams in this situation get baited into taking the fights with the tanks, trying to eliminate one of the tanks. It's so difficult to take out the tanks with the Brig right there, especially with how beefy both Sigma and Orisa can be with Fortify and Kinetic Grasp. That instead of getting baited into that, try and just double back for the tanks. The damage dealers really can get the benefits of like all the Orisa healing.
Oh my, that burst is nasty! So,
I mean, that's gonna happen. That's why you want to play this comp.
That's why it's even scary to play this on defense, because if Philly are defending and they lose Sato like that, like, they have to play a weird, disjointed stall fight, which they did, in fairness, but it's harder that way. Now, can we get Fury charged? Is that what Philly are trying to do here, is maybe, you know, use Sato to get Fury in a position where those shields melt?
Yeah, you get charge up EMP, charge up Grav, Nano Blade, right? There's a lot of ways that Philly could potentially win this. That's a big hack.
Fielder, I mean, he can't use Immortality Field, so the dive's harder to stave off, and yet he's able to survive initially. He may get knocked off the map here, but he got to deploy his Immortality Field in the end. So Sana gets the kill. It gets through. Oh, it gets Xe. Xe takes such a risk fighting him so close to the edge of the map, Matthew. And now Sato is just going to go on the rest of the Paris Eternal here. Fury's fully charged up. And no! And the sleep down on Sparkle again. Alarm! Enter Sandman! The Paris Eternal are running out of options now in this fight, and Fury is just getting stronger the longer it goes.
The hack is really what sets it up. I mean, the highlight plays after from Sato, Primal Raging, and the Sleep Dart from Alarm. on a Sparkle is huge, but the hack from Hisu on a fielder, you're playing around that immortality field coming down if you're the Paris Eternal. That's why you're standing ground there. When it can't come down, you start to panic a little bit. You saw how all those players are just getting chunked down. Fury comes in with a bubble, extra Zarya damage, Primal Rage. They're able to force them back, and now the Philly Fusion just need one tick here on point B to take it.
EMP, Blade, Graviton, Nano Boost, everything but the Kitchen Primal Raid for Philadelphia. Hisu wants to stop Fielder from using his immortality again. Look,
They use this.
Fielder doesn't get the immortality field down. It doesn't look like it, though. So the hack did come out at the right time. Still, Harpin catches most of Philly with that Gravitic Flux. That is nasty. Philly caught in midair.
That's a bad fight for Philly.
Okay, Sato is primal
That's a lot thrown out of here.
Hanbin's forced away. I mean, he's going to struggle. I mean, Sigma struggles against Zarya in general without that shield. Sato has a bubble still alive somehow? That's bizarre how Philly have converted this.
They'll have Ivy and Hisu back in. They've gotten high ground control now.
I mean, they have their Ana on the high ground, Matt. That is a big win condition for this composition if Alarm can stay alive here. I mean, who can contest this? He drops back, trying to keep Fury alive now, and there it is.
No, yeah. I don't know if I agree with the Philly Fusion throwing all those ultimates into that. I think once they saw the Gravitic Flux come down, there was no reason to kind of invest more after. They're able to even make it more interesting than I think either of us thought. Well, Paris Eternal make a switch. They'll go with Hanbin playing the Zarya now. And Sparkle switches over to the Tracer in the last fight, but interesting. The Zarya gives them some extra protection with bubbles for the backline as Ivy takes out Sparkle. It also allows them to put down some extra damage on Sato coming on in.
There might have been a sleep dart involved in that, Matt. There wasn't an assist from Alarm, so we don't really know. Mana boost on Sato. We take those. FD got a back away here. Who's Sato trying to go for here? Maybe just create some space first and then wait for a jump cooldown, but he's so low to the high ground, and Sparkle just gets away by dashing. A little disjointed from Philadelphia there. Paris did very, very well just to not lose their cool and start firing off random abilities.
Well, this is where Paris' comp starts to win out, right? They can just sit point.
They didn't want to keep up
Where do you go?
Oh, they bait in a 5-player EMP! Paris walk into that one. Philly is so good at taking breaks mid-fight. It's like they just disengage for a moment. And Paris, despite having a better composition and cool heads, it seemed, end up walking into a trap set by the Fusion.
Yeah, they just bait them into that. They bail out for a quick second. They think that Philly is a little bit too spread out to make a play. EMP Blade come down at the same exact time, and Philly able to take the point really quickly after that. I don't hate what Paris did, and I actually think they look quite good at it. I think maybe going to a different map with less verticality could benefit the composition that they're trying to run. I think that would give them a slight advantage moving forward against Philly.
Right, well, Escort is up next. So we have Route 66, Havana, and Gibraltar. So there's high ground.
You don't want to go to Gibraltar.
You have to pick Havana,
that's how
right?
I feel like. I think you kind of have to play Havana. I think playing like a Winston Genji Sombra on Havana the entire time would be way harder to do. Like Gibraltar, you can definitely do it. Route 66, you can definitely do it as
Gibraltar,
well.
Right? At least the Anna Winston.
Yeah, you kind of feel like this has to be Havana for the Paris Eternal.
Well, big decisions approaching now for the Paris Eternal, who still haven't managed to figure out a way to break Philly's dive approach. We'll be back in just a moment, guys. A quick break to catch a breath, and when we return, Paris, it's their last chance to stay alive in this series. There must be a W on Escort.
other heroes he's really known for and make him play some of these oddball picks, you feel like it's a win.
All right, well, let's see. Let's see if Paris can force Philly off of this kind of crazy setup.
The Zen is going to be difficult to deal with as well, mind you. Like, now Paris adding the Zenyatta into the mix. The Discords, like, Sato needs to play this perfectly.
Yeah, so much to contend with. Immortality field within the Discord orbs. I mean, the tank line is nasty. You've got Exy banging out your back line as well if you're not careful.
And right now, I mean, you see he just gets hit with a rock, accretion, like...
I have no idea what Philly think they're supposed to do here.
What is the plan here? Moving in towards the inside closes the gap.
And they can get closer to Exy without exposing themselves to Widow.
Yeah, but now Exy just rotates, right?
Yeah, this is going about the way that you kind of predicted it would, Matthew.
Yeah.
Immortality field was there, even with a nice biotic grenade from Alarm. That kind of just gets negated.
And this is just, honestly, it's a really smart read from the Paris Eternal. Let's take them to a map. Doesn't favor them, gives us a big advantage in terms of the composition we want to run. And make it really difficult. Like, they're just trying to get the payload up the street to force them.
Funny Astro moving the car.
They're just trying to get them further around the corner. They need to create space. So they're just trying to get the payload up around the corner so they can get in.
All right. Oh, he's okay. The hack that was on the FD God. No immortality field means no Zenyatta, and FD God gets picked up right after. I can't believe Philly are playing hard mode right now. Like, they are making this unnecessarily hard by playing this comp, and it worked out because the coordination looks so good.
And you can only really play this, like, because you have, like, because Alarm is getting nano so fast, and then Sato's Winston just being able to stay alive, like, so many other Winstons we've seen play into this type of stuff just get picked off so easily. Like, the ability to keep Sato alive is unreal.
I mean, now, yeah, Fielder getting picked off in the back line there. Ben Bester stands up on the point, but Fury's charged up now. He got a long fight to get all of this charge now. He acts as another DPS. He doesn't care about Sigma. If you're Sigma and the enemy Zarya walks past your shield, you can't do anything. If you try and increase you, she has plenty of notice to bubble herself. If you try and recall your shield, she'll just step past the next one. And you can't use kinetic grasp on her, so she's just going to ruin you.
So now Exy goes over to Ash here for the inside phase. I think you could have even gone McCree here in terms of like the effective range. They're gonna try and get a grab from behind and then a biotic grenade here if they play bridge. They're playing far. Yeah.
Gonna have the Ash home by 10 here. No Widowmaker this time. EMP, and that's also hit the supercharger, I think, which is just gonna hurt the damage. Supercharger now gets forced out by FD God, or of FD God, should I say. The Transcendence though from Fielder was just right.
And Philly's gonna try and win this. They're gonna, oh, they bait out the Gravitic Flux. They get absolutely nobody with it. Is the blade good enough to get anything, though, as Ivy falls? It's not.
No, it's not. Not with that nano boost. I think it was a defensive gravitic flux from Hanbin, I suppose, but Ivy didn't really have... I mean, he wasn't really going to be much threat.
He baited it, though. Like, when the Ivy pulls out the blade, gets the nano, he starts to go towards the bridge. Hanbin uses the gravitic flux, and you can see Ivy to the left-hand side. Doesn't even make it up onto the bridge.
Ivy did get nanoed then.
Yes.
Okay, right, well that makes sense then to use gravitic flux. Then defensively, the Ivy doesn't get anything when he tries to hit that backline. FD got hacked again. Oh man, stuff out there for Batiste. And now the healing for Paris is really average with just the Zenyatta. Okay, so let's just establish this. We spent a lot of time talking about how hard it is to die this comp, right? Like Paris have so many tools to make it hard for Sato to stick to a target or for Ivy to get an easy pick. As soon as you hack the Batiste,
right,
the script on all that gets completely flipped.
Well, yeah, this is a better version of it, though, I think, with the Sparkle on Tracer is a bit odd, but you know, having Fielder play the Batiste and then have FD God play the Brig, I think this is much better. It gives you a little bit more healing. You can play Brawly with the Brigitte.
Stun the Sombra as well if she tries to go for some sort of hack. Oh, and that's a nasty biotic grenade as well. And that Immortality field, it's not enough! The entirety of the Eternal get knocked out of it, and then it expires anyway. There wasn't enough healing, you know, during the period of that Immortality field being down because of such a big biotic grenade on 3 people. Everybody on Philly is operating at peak capacity right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe you're able to make this work. Is look at Alarm just taking the duel up on the high ground, and nano boost here from Alarm on a Hisu. You hear the Sombra Little gun, go burr. It's,
Quite satisfying, actually,
the-
when nanoed.
Yep. You don't see it often. Is now you'll have the Philly Fusion take checkpoint 2, and look at this image. You'll have EMP Blade set up here. Hanbin now plays Zarya. It just seems like the Eternal are just struggling for answers, just cycling through heroes here.
You know what I'm not looking forward to? The next time I catch up with Tucker, and he gives me that annoying grin. He's like, "Yo, Mitch, remember when you thought our dive composition was going to lose to double shield?" God, please don't let that happen. Paris, much better. They get rid of Sadu to begin.
Sparkle almost walks into his death
that.
there, yeah. It's just a right click from Ivy.
Wow, this is buffed Genji, so
this feels like another fight though where they're baiting them in, right? Like Philly knows they have this EMP, they're just allowing
Where was that?
Where did he even get stuff from? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he can't finish the tracer on his own. Even if he throws bio while having shots. Sparkle tries to recall, but he recalls back to a very close location because he was slept for so long. So that's the pick for Philly. They bait into the tracer in. Here's an EMP catching the front line of Paris. So Hanbin has no bubbles to give to Benbest, no way to get charged, which means no damage.
You're still able to win the fight if you're the Philly Fusion. You have to end up using your grab. You probably would have liked to hold on to that one. Next fight though, you have double support ult and Blade. And look at this, they have nothing. No rally, no grab. Bob, you used a lot in that fight for the Paris Eternal. You're in trouble here for Paris. This is a spot where Sato can get to the high ground, put some damage. Sato will probably have Primal Rage here as well.
Alarm sees the Hulk coming, tries to sleep into the back line, but Sparkle will be allowed to do what he wants for the time being. Alarm knows he's being harassed. He tries to get rid of this Nano Boost now, and Ivy's trying to get rid of the Eternal. Immortality Field there was right on time by Fielder. You can't fault him for that. Great whip shot, preventing Ivy from getting a dash reset for his last slash of the blade.
Oh, that was good D from Paris.
Yeah, FD god. Very good FD.
Well, what they decided to do there is when the blade came in, instead of trying to turn and deal with it, they just muscled through the remaining players on the card. They said, hey, you know, look, they have a Winston in the back line, Nano Blade. There's no saving XE in the back. You know, you had Fielder there as well. Let's just use our Brig and push through the front line. There's nobody here. And they're able to win those engagements. Now give themselves a chance to hold the card.
Sparkle's hunting for something.
Oh, nice. That was a good halt there from Benbest.
Only 23 seconds left. Paris Eternal have been doing very well, actually, even when short-handed in some of these fights, Matt.
Grab Pulse Bomb here.
Winning.
It's a possibility.
Okay, Primal might make this a little hard to put together. I don't know what Sato is trying to do. He's just... Oh, right now he's just bouncing around the place, actually.
He has to just touch point.
Right. He was low on
Trigger
health.
OT.
He got point. Here comes that Graviton Surge. Pulse Bomb you expect will be coming out in just a moment. Oh! The hack! No chance for Sparkle to drop the Pulse Bomb. Maybe tried to. It just didn't really find its mark. Either way, Hanbin is down. Fury's close to a grab. But he needs to get damage, not on shield, to actually charge that one up properly. Alarm lets the Nano Boost go now. So Ivy's going to try and make something happen here. It looks like Alarm nanoed a target that was just about to die. Maybe it was Sato.
He doesn't want to push in here because you're playing around Fury's grab.
Oh no! Fury over the edge. Fantastic punch by Sparkle. The Doom Fist comes out at just the right time. Bit of a clutch pick for him. And yes, Philly weren't ready for it. They are knocked off of the card. And the Paris Eternal, really impressive. They weather the storm of this frustrating dive composition, and they prevent Philly from finishing the map.
They come out clutch. That one, it was looking like it was getting out of control again, but that time Paris was able to stabilize. And it was that one fight where Nano Blade comes in for the Philly Fusion. Paris, instead of turning and trying to defend it, which it would have allowed Fury and Co to just kind of push up, eliminate players, they just push straight on through it with the Orisa and their own Zarya and their Brig. They're able to take out players just for the Fusion playing on cart. It's the right decision there. See what they decide to do on defense. Philly, I think, probably comes out, plays that same dive yet again. Paris, do you try and play like Xe on Ashe? Do you try and play him on Widow? You can maybe play some McCree. This is interesting. So this tells me that Philly wants to play brawly and close. They want to defend really close to the door.
A little dangerous this is, because this, I believe Paris probably look at their best when they're dealing with double shield, but this is a twist for Philly. more mobile, more lethal. And it has May, so that's filthy.
Well, I think this will probably catch them off guard a little bit. They probably expect Philly to play something a little bit more dive-centric on D.
But once the surprise factor expires, is this still a good comp to be going with?
This is what they tried to play on Control, right?
It's true.
This is exactly minus Carpe and Poco. This is exactly the composition they ran on Control where they got dominated. The only thing here is Paris cannot kite it as easily because there's a central objective that they have to go to. This is almost like if Philly would have had control of the point,
right.
we would have seen it play on Control.
That's a fantastic way of putting it, Matt. Yeah. It's like, this is more of a dynamic setup now where Philly actually get to choose to have Paris come to them. And, well, FD God walked straight into Hisu's sights on the Widow.
Like, this is how it would have worked if they were holding control of the point. Mind you, Sparkle's 90% to Blade.
That's so fast.
The dash through and the damage is pretty decent.
This guy is crazy. All right, he'll have a Blade in just a moment here.
Can he use it safely, though?
He was going to try it anyway. I mean, he wants to brawl and it gets punished. Okay, it's a trade. Sato goes down. Discord will finally get stuck in that coalescence from Alarm. It's not really enough to keep the frontliners alive for Philly. They can stag and brawl out a little bit here, but eventually they'll have to give some ground. Oh my God, Hisu! 2 quick headshots in succession. The grapple shot, it looks stylish. And I mean, yeah, I don't think Sparkle wants to hang around out in the open.
Yeah, I was going to say, you still had your third tank on the point with May, but you may as well back out here. Now this becomes much harder for Philly to play. Now it'll probably look a little bit like how it looked on Control.
Infraside's down. They'll know where the Doomfist comes from at any rate. And also, I think he's trying to pick Fielder out of the mix here. But Fielder sees him coming, and Hanbin helps him finish it off. Now the Fusion are in full-scale retreat here, and it's like they can't get back quickly enough. Hanbin wants to catch Sato in that kinetic gravitic flux. That's the only player he wants. Now inside the Blizzard, Hanbin is frozen up, and there's a Transcendence there by Fielder. So Paris really have all the tools they need. Now against the sound barrier in Philly, they want to be careful, but they still want to brawl. Hanbin shields himself up again, and look how far forward Benbest is playing. Paris are out for blood here, but they've lost Hanbin to a coalescence. The cart, though, it marches on.
Yeah, they're going to turn this up. Philly will be able to win this on the defensive end. Because you invested everything in there. But that also tells you that Philly is, you're kind of playing in the long game, right? You know you got the cart pretty far. Havana, a very difficult map to finish.
They're playing Widowmaker here on first, which is a bunch of fun.
It's definitely one that's probably shocked Paris, because if you would have thought they would have played Widow or any type of hit scan like this, that Carpe would be in the game.
But Hisu has looked incredibly good.
Look at this wrap to the high ground.
Now they're pushing Exy. She's trying to get away. You see even Alarm is pushing now with the kinetic grasp. Sparkle, where does he go with this? Fury's already down now to some dynamite. There's a supercharger in play. Funny Astro finds Sparkle though, and another Blizzard. The Eternal can't contest this. They have to back up the payload once more, and Hisu had plenty of room. FD God swoops in and saves the day. And now Funny Astro just keeps his head down a little bit on the cart. There's plenty of healing for Philadelphia here, and Paris are starting to get desperate.
So Exy gets one. Still have Hanbin here. He may get staggered out.
Oh, he will get staggered out.
Yeah, Sparkle diving in as well. I don't think you can win this with the state that the Paris Eternal are in right now, right?
Oh, Hanbin, that's devastating. He tried to get away. He almost did.
Sparkle's got to get out with his life as well. Okay, he does make it. Hanbin will come back, and they'll have a Gravitic Flux. They'll have a Bob.
I wonder
Walls, though, so you'll know exactly what's coming here for the Fusion.
Alarm may go aggressive with his coalescence here, and Hisu, Infrasight is huge, especially if you want to get rid of Fielder early, maybe before he gets coalescence. What is Hisu looking for? Coalescence has already come out here. Oh, there it is! Picked on Exy. Can't quite find the Moira. Hisu in a very safe position now. Who's going to challenge him here? Who is going to step up and go after this young gun? Sparkle's not even bothering right now. Fielder's stuck in position there. He can't move unless he has a fade. And Benbest goes down on the point without the healing, and Hisu finds yet another one. The second coming of Carpe. And the Philly Fusion close the series out here on Havana against the Eternal. First, it's a dive composition with Sombra. And then they mix it up. They go for Reinhardt, a brawl composition featuring Widow. Something completely off the wall. And you were right, Matt. It looked like the Eternal were caught by surprise.
And they definitely were caught off by surprise, but I think Philly they were tremendous. Once they made the adjustments to play Hisu and Ivy for the rest of the series pretty much, and not play more standard type of compositions and play this dive that they've really been working on. And we've seen them run it on lots of different maps. They've run it on Gibraltar, and Nimbani we saw it on in this series, and it's always looked really good. They go to it today, and Paris had no answer for it. You see, Paris really gave a good effort in trying to play like more of a stationary, like bunkery type of style, just kind of hunkering down around like an Orisa or Rhine. They tried it without the Lucio rig. They tried it with a fast play, with like rush comps trying to run players down. It didn't work either time. They had to switch Sparkle off of the Genji numerous times to other picks like the Tracer, the Reaper, the Doomfist, and they were never able to really materialize anything. I think it really speaks to more, like I still think Paris Eternal is a fantastic team. And I still think they have the capabilities of winning the series. I think it just speaks to how strong Philly's dive actually is.
Yeah, I think you saw Paris multiple times. They tried to like trim their risk, right? Pick safer heroes, go away from the Zen, go to Brig, go away from the Widow, go to Ashe. There still wasn't enough. Philadelphia were able to force a lot of errors and get a lot of value. It's time now, of course, to highlight one of the most impressive plays of the course of this series. The match presented by Xfinity today is none other than Alarm. The sleep darts were crazy. Today is none other than Alarm. The sleep darts were crazy.
Guy was nuts.
But the biotic grenades were really important, I think, at a lot of points, enabling your Winston to get easy follow-up kills.
If you needed a reason to vote for Alarm for T-Mobile MVP, just watch a little bit of a cut down of this series from his point of view. I mean, just tremendous Ana play all throughout. The sleep, every time there's a big ultimate, whether like a Dragon Blade, Deadeye, like any type of setup coming in from the Paris Eternal, but like he was able to just negate it with a sleep dart right away. Like Philly never even had to worry about it. His usage of the nano boost onto different targets, whether it be Nano Blade, Nano onto the Winston, got great value out of all of them. I thought Alarm was the biggest difference in the series today, without a doubt.
Yeah, and quite often I actually noticed that Alarm wasn't using his sleep dart on cooldown at all. At one point after Nimbani, I think he only had like 7 sleeps over much of that map.
Yeah.
So he was specifically, he wasn't always 100% sure when there would be like a Dragon Blade or a Deadeye or an EMP. Maybe he wasn't able to track them himself, but he was holding the sleep dart to make sure he shut down a key ultimate. Other times, you know, he was able to fend for himself, dealing with Traces and Genjis and stuff in the backline. So incredible stuff. I think Funny Astro works really well alongside him because he's such a defensive sort of support-focused Brig player. He's not trying to go crazy aggressive. He really helps keep his line incredibly safe. Matt, we have an absolute firecracker of a final now here in our Countdown Cup.
We haven't really seen Fusion Shock this season. I think it's a matchup like everybody's wanted for a really long time. And I'm excited to see this variation of it. Because if you're the Shock and you just watched what they did, you know, the Shock, they love to play Smurf on the Winston. Yeah. Do you want to try and match that? Or do you want to play, Ons on the Widow, Ons on the Ashe? It's going to be a tough decision for San Francisco.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you might be ready for a throwback to a golden era of Overwatch from where it was dive only. We actually get with I guess a twist now because we see Zarya getting used in these dive compositions, which is crazy. So whichever way you slice it, the final of this Countdown Cup between the Philadelphia Fusion and the San Francisco Shock is going to be one to remember. Don't touch the URL bar. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. We'll be back with the final right after this.